Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Sacks of Wine with SC Hollers, and this morning, sometime while I was sleeping, they introduced Inside Star Citizen, a line in mine, and it's not a live event. It was just a video they posted on YouTube. So I wanted to check that out. We got Jared on the screen first, and I hope he's got some good things to say about the Align in Mine event. But let's get right into it.
The last 4 months have been unlike any in Star Citizen's history, with each one bringing a new patch full of dynamic content, needed bug fixes, and long-awaited quality of life improvements. From December's 4.0, which finally brought...
Now, Jared, I love the enthusiasm in regards to the bug fixes and quality of life improvements, but let's be real here. As much as I love some of the bug fixes and quality of life improvements, server meshing has brought its own onset of bugs and other things that need quality of life improvement. And the best way to say it is it's a crapshoot. And there is a lot of work that needs to be done to make server meshing work properly with the in-game systems.
Brought our second star system to life, to picking a side in the ongoing fight for Pyro in January's 401, then building up the war chest for the continuing battle against the Frontier Fighters in February's 402 Supply or Die event. It's been one non-stop adventure in Pyro. But all of that changes when the story shifts back to the Stanton system in Alpha 4.1, with the introduction of new threats, new friends, and new opportunities for action, adventure, and acquisition.
At 4.1, we're actually going to be introducing what we've been calling internally as sort of our B story. In a nutshell, the regen technology, which to this point has basically been allowing people to die and get regen back, the technology begins to fail.
And that's being referred to as the regen crisis.
So it's throwing the Empire.
Wait, where was any of this in Supply and Die? Where was any of this regen crisis? The only thing I've seen in regards to this regen crisis was on the loading page. Like whenever you load into Star Citizen, there's an article, I want to say it's top right, maybe bottom right of the screen, and it says there was a crash and people have failed to regen. Where's the story in game? Where is that? You can't just say that you're introducing it in 4.1. There has to be a build-up to it.
To a bit of chaos and confusion because this technology that everybody thought was basically going to conquer death is not as effective as promised.
Now for the player, nothing changes. You can just go about your business.
Look at that beautiful armor. Sorry, side note, I want this armor, and currently there's only one way to get it, and it's going to take a lot of work.
And it's business as usual. But for the populace, it's an issue.
So at this point, the Imperator is basically going to start lobbying the Senate to start loosening scientific restrictions on research. One company, Rayari, has put the call out to the population to try to find these sort of very rare minerals to basically bring to their outpost to help fuel their research to help resolve the crisis.
And the way you get those brand new materials is the Align and Mine sandbox activity.
Now, before they get into the Align and Mine event, I've played this in the PTU. When it works, it's such a cool event. I 100% recommend that you go do this, even if you weren't planning to. Just try to do it a couple of times. It's really cool seeing all this stuff and how it all works.
So Align and Mine starts with these new facilities that are placed across two planets, Daymar and Aberdeen. These are Hathor-owned locations.
Hathor is sort of an older company. Basically, they were kind of a mining consortium. But as the years were going on, they were doing worse and worse and worse. And so the idea was that Stanton was relatively recently discovered, and the facilities that Hathor built here were basically their last gasp.
The purpose of these facilities was so Hathor could communicate and align with the orbital platform above them.
They went all in on building these facilities in the hopes that it would yield enough minables and minerals that it would keep the company alive. Sadly, they were sort of mistaken and the company folded.
Now that there's a renewed interest in the minerals that they used to mine there, people are going there and trying to get the facilities up and running again.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, even in the PTU, they're introducing Wicklow and Banu, the alien race, and this whole region crisis is like on the back burner. There is a quest or a mission that you can pick up from Rayari, but this entire time that the PTU has been live, that Rayari quest line has been broken. Like, you've not been able to turn in the stuff to actually complete that quest line. It's been all about Wicklow, so I'm confused as to why they're bringing that up so much here. And again, where was any of this in 4.0.2 to lead up to 4.1? This is where the storytelling in-game needs to be improved drastically.
At each of these Hathor locations, there's an alignment dish. And the players have to go around and try to find out how to align the dish towards the satellite.
So while these mining facilities have been abandoned, they are by no means vacant.
While you're at the PAFs, you will be contending with Ninetales. Ninetales are just kind of the scavengers, the bad guys. They go everywhere, they just want loot, they want to get rich.
They're just here to basically strip and clean what's left of these defunct stations.
Maybe set up a
checks for
camp or two
Ninetales.
and hold it as a sort of strategical point.
It's essential that the players search the area as much as they can. I can't stress that enough.
Once you've managed to find all three facilities and align them with the orbital platform, you need to collect the power banks and align them with the orbital platform.
So I want you to take a look here. So in the PTU, this is something that consistently broke. If you look at the lights on the screen, you have 2 green lights and 1 red. These lights don't work in conjunction with the bottom 3 blades here. And if you look at the bottom 3 blades, it's kind of hard to see initially as they
With the
brought it
orbital
up.
platform.
See how the 2 on the left are yellow and the one on the right is red? This one should also be yellow. And technically this top red light should also be green. And that will open up the battery bank in the back here, the battery storage facility here. That's what should happen. But what would happen in the PTU is you would insert 2 cards and then it would bug out the alignment control center here and you wouldn't be able to enter the 3rd card. So the battery storage would just never open and then you can never do the event. So I'm hoping they fix that, but it's funny that they show this here where the station's not working. Something tells me that they manually opened the station just for this recording.
You need to collect the power banks that they've left behind on the surface.
The Atlas. I'm not going to get into this one, but basically they're introducing the Atlas Geo in 4.1, and I hope they get into that in this video. Maybe not, but with them introducing the Atlas Geo, I hope they fix the regular Atlas, because you have a 33% chance that the Atlas will work perfectly fine, a 33% chance that you'll be teleported somewhere randomly in the immediate area, and that could also mean like inside the walls and everything, which would, if you're in the wall, you're not getting out, and it ensures your death. And number 3, you just die instantly. So there's a 33% chance one of those 3 things is going to happen.
Now with the PAFs all activated, it's time to get in your ship and head up to the orbital laser platform.
They're just doing a whole
Be careful
walkthrough.
because there might be some certain Ninetail lieutenants kind of roaming around.
it'll be pretty tough to get in there and to get it going.
The power banks that you would have obtained at the platform alignment facilities need to be.
So you're going to need a lot of ammo. A lot of ammo, especially if you're doing this solo. You are going to need a ton of ammo. So be sure to keep that in mind. In 4.1, you're going to have your T0 armor reclamation. And even with that, you're going to need a ton of ammo. Just bring it with you.
Be inserted into their slots at the orbital laser platform. Players can head inside, fighting through, again, more Ninetales while they try to get to this terminal in the middle. That will charge the laser, and players should see a really cool effect in their environment to signify that this laser is ready to be fired.
So once you've armed the laser and it begins its sort of initiation sequence, you then have to go back down to the surface. Near where the impact is going to be, you'll be able to see this because it will be a crater. There will be a bunker nearby. This bunker is where you will do the final stage, which is firing the laser.
Why are you making people go back down to the surface?
Well, I mean, down on the surface is where the loot is. Like, that's where the treasure is. That's where you're gonna actually get the resources that you came to mine.
Keycard accepted.
It's so much better when you're down on the ground, you hit the button, you see this laser just pull, and there's all this shit going everywhere, and you're like, oh my God. It's an impactful moment. And there's that emotion of awe we want to inspire, and when we was testing it, the emotion is better captured when you're boots on the ground.
He's absolutely right in that.
Really chaotic.
Yeah, we haven't even touched on the worms yet.
There's a reason why Hathor abandoned these facilities. There's some local fauna that's not too happy when the ground gets disturbed.
So make sure you're prepared.
So we've been working on the Valakar for a while now, and we're really excited to finish off that boss fight and bring it to everybody as soon as possible. But in the process of developing it, we've also got some smaller Valakar.
Valakar are a tremendously invasive species. Basically, once they kind of get into an area, they propagate rather quickly and can become a very dangerous presence.
Okay, so there's an important thing to note in what was just said. So the Valakar boss fight, there's a quest for a Polaris, and it's a 6-part quest. But one of the pieces of the quest is you need a certain item, and I think it was data mined that you need it from the Valakar boss, and that's an important thing to note, because if the Valakar boss isn't released yet, that means when 4.0 launches, nobody's going to be able to pick up a Polaris from that quest line. Now, it's a 6-part quest. Part 1 is very, I don't want to say it's difficult, but it's time consuming. And it makes sense that it's time consuming because you're getting a Polaris for going out and collecting resources.
Fighting a juvenile is fairly similar to the adults on a much smaller scale.
Because they come up from the ground submerged, they can surprise the player in the way that they come up behind them or can attack them from areas where they don't expect.
The Valakar will also fight the other Ninetales at the location if you've managed to find a way to let them be in each other's presence.
So it's going to be you against other players, against other Ninetales, against other worms?
Yeah, real Mexican standoff. So when the lasers finish firing, it will have mined
Here's the Atlas Geo
of this planet, which will reveal a cave network.
Inside this cave are 3 new mineable types.
I don't think they're going to go over the Atlas Geo. They did release the Atlas Geo to Evocati and the PTU. But the Atlas Geo is basically a mining atlas, and it has the capability to mine ground nodes as well as handheld nodes. So you can see here all the nodes that are highlighted for the Geo. Some of those are handheld, some of those are vehicle mine nodes. So the Geo has the opportunity to do both, basically.
It's a fight for whoever can get the goods out of that cave as fast as possible and as safely as possible. We are in Stanton, so if you're gonna fight some other players, beware of crime stats.
Then you get to choose, do you want some interesting random loot from the collector, or do you want to just get credits?
Let's help the human race. Let's help the human race.
Yeah. Help the human race and make some bank.
While this is happening, Stanton System actually has an exciting new resident. We've introduced our first Banu. His name is Wicklow. Wicklow is also offering a counter mission to the minerals that Rayari is looking.
Just real quick.
Wicklow is also.
This is so cool. This is so cool. This is the first time we've really seen anything like this. Like, we've seen holograms and stuff, but just getting the Banu introduced and Wicklow introducing his Emporium and all this stuff, this is really, really cool.
Offering a counter mission to the minerals that Rayari is looking for. So if you don't want to sell them off to Rayari to help with the regen crisis, Wicklow.
I don't know if they're going to show what's in Wicklow's Emporium, but if you haven't seen some of the stuff that's in there, go check it out. One of my favorite things is a different variation of the Atlas, and I won't spoil it for you, but I know there's a couple people that have put out videos on that particular variation of Atlas.
Wicklow is offering some sweet, tasty items in exchange for the same materials.
Here you go. Bring chip in.
Wicklow recently.
And that's an important piece right here. This is something we've seen in Squadron 42 gameplay, and they're finally starting to implement it in Star Citizen, which is really awesome. And what I mean by this is being able to see the actual ATC's face on your screen whenever you contact them.
Bring chip in.
Wicklow recently retired, Banu equivalent of retirement, from a fabrication facility in the Banu Protectorate. He loves people, he loves humans, so he decided to move to human space and set up sort of a fabrication shop / trading site location for players to go visit, and basically he can kind of make you some cool stuff if you bring him what he needs.
Now, see, this is another thing, like, in regards to the lore, like, the story team and the development team need to work together to really get this into the game. How was I supposed to know this about Wicklow? I had no idea Wicklow was from, well, I knew he was from the Banu system, but I didn't know he was a fabricator. Like, I just thought Wicklow would just give me stuff. Now, he does say that he will make stuff for you. And I'm like, well, is that going to be like the first step of crafting? Is this how crafting is going to be from now on? Is rather than an actual crafting system, you get just missions and you turn in the stuff and they give you items in return, which would be a really crappy crafting system. But it kind of put that perception in my head. But if Wicklow is a fabricator, and that's where he came from, he's a retired fabricator, then I guess that tracks why he's making all this stuff for you. And one of the cool things that he can make for you, and you can check out Captain Foxy Loxy's video. Foxy Loxy got a ship from Wicklow in the most recent PTU patch, and it's really cool some of the modifications that Wicklow did to that ship.
One of the things with the Banu was they always try to be the least threatening thing in the room. I always equate them to sort of the golden retriever of our aliens. So they're everybody's friend until they're not.
Wicklow's Emporium, there are 3 of them in different areas of Stanton. You'll be able to find these on your star map. This is where Wicklow is set up shop. The unique thing about Wicklow is he'll never pay you any money because he's got a load of shit in his warehouse that he'd rather give you instead.
The collector offers everything from armor pieces to skins to weapons.
Really pretty, yes. Solid build, but also fun to make.
And other cool little surprises.
Even spaceships.
Even spaceships, big ones. I'm incredibly excited. It is quite a defining moment for a space game to finally get an alien. And the best thing about Wicklow is, as we keep moving and building out this universe, his presence will stay. You will keep needing to interact with him, he'll keep needing random things from you, so you better make good friends with him.
4.1,
That's cool.
we're finally able to deliver some content that we've been working on for a while.
I think that
So that's really cool. What he said about Wicklow sticking around. Much like the contested zones, the executive hangars, they have persisted since 4.0 came out. And it's really cool to see that this event is not just an event, that it'll stick around. And this is going to be something that we can do in the future.
the experience of the whole thing is really cool, and I think that it's a really, really big step forward for us on the mission design team, making content for the future, that we are able to create events that use mission logic but don't require missions.
It's fun to be able to kind of like explore a little bit and not just have everything kind of spoon-fed to you. And it also mixes a little bit of everything, right? We have the FPS and we have a little bit of ship combat up by the orbital platform, and of course even creature fighting. So
that's a very valid point, though. Like, in regards to like exploration and stuff on these different planets and moons, this really brings out the exploration aspect of Star Citizen. And it's just the beginning of it. Obviously, we have ships that need to come out, more jump points that need to be discovered, so on and so forth. But how many times have you actually been to Aberdeen and it wasn't Klesher Mining Facility? Or, excuse me, Klesher Rehabilitation Center? Or even Daymar, the other location. How many times have you been to Daymar and it wasn't Brio's Breaker Yard? Probably not very often.
it's got a nice spectrum of things that you can do.
I like the fact that we're building more of the story out of what this world is, how the universe is created, how these companies have operated in it, and giving you more fun sandbox things to do that require you to be the explorer that you want to be in a space game.
And with 4 patches in as many months, the introduction of a new ongoing persistent sandbox with Align in mind, the arrival of our Persistent Universe's first non-human character, a new system for acquiring rewards, brand new mining vehicles, and the beginning of a second ongoing narrative that's threatening the lives of
Sorry, real quick. It's interesting that he brought up new mining vehicles, because it's 2 new mining vehicles and they didn't even show one of them in the video.
NPCs everywhere. And no, I've seen the post. It's not Death of a Spaceman, not yet, or not soon. We're playing a really long game here. It's an exciting time for Star Citizen, and one that we're all super excited to share with you. So for Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. As always, thanks for letting us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll be right back here in just a few weeks with even more looks at the future of our persistent universe.
Thought the video was over. Way. The Rock TS? What? Hold on a second. This wasn't in the PTU. Oh my gosh. What? Very cool. So coming April 1st. Oh no, it's April 1st. Wait, that's got 2 outside seats on it. So I thought this was going to be maybe a combat-based ship, but it looks like it has mining lasers on the sides here. And then it has 2 seats. So this is now going to be a 3-seater. Maybe that's what that TS means, Rock 3-seat. That's cool. That is cool. Okay. So we have more opportunity for group gameplay. Awesome. Well, this has been Inside Star Citizen. What are some of the things that you like? What are some of the things that you don't like? I know a bunch of people don't like the Tier 0 implementation, and I know crafting isn't here yet, but my opinion is that Tier 0 implementation, if not done properly, in the end, can ruin crafting. I'm a hardcore industrialist, if you will. I do cargo hauling mostly right now, but hopefully Tier 0 doesn't ruin armor and weapon manufacturing in the future when that becomes an available piece of gameplay. As for the 4.1 Align and Mine event, I'm super excited about it. It's a really cool event, and I'm looking forward to it. And let's see what cargo hauling has for us in the future. I'm Sax of Wine with SC Haulers, and we'll see you in the next one.